The essence of communication is about clearly explaining your thoughts or ideas, transmitting your intent, and ultimately achieving your audience's understanding of what you're trying to decipher. This is naturally one of, if not the most important factor in the business field where we want to negotiate with the audience to purchase our items and services. Following this, your next question should be, how can we effectively convince people? Today's referenced book, The Catalyst, How Can We Change Anyone's Mind, by Jonah Berger, a professor at the Wharton School of University of Pennsylvania, talks exactly that. If you can effectively communicate why your audience should listen to you, then that ability can be utilized perfectly in business, specifically in marketing. In this video, I'll discuss some important points you might want to know to effectively communicate and influence people. Today, I want to start with the wrong kinds of answers when you want to negotiate and influence people's actions. Simply asking is never the way to go, especially if the other person's a stranger. Your pleading will only look suspicious, and your audience, thinking that you're desperate, will stop listening to you. Don't ever do this. Instead, science and psychology have found us the correct techniques to influence and negotiate with people. In Life Study Library, you'll learn these educational and life-changing information about science and psychology, as I'll explain using evidence from various scholarly articles and studies. If you're interested, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share to others that this channel, this option, exists. Thank you for doing all that, and let's continue with the video. Technique number 1. Give them options. If you haven't already known this technique, you should know that giving your audience the choice to choose among your options is one of the basic insights when it comes to negotiation. Think about another example when you're trying to convince your child to eat salad. Commanding them to eat the greens will rarely work, and even if you've successfully forced them to obey, the effects will be temporary, and they'll just complain the next time. A much better method is to ask them, you have chicken or veggies? Which one do you want to eat first? According to the professor, providing only one option or one idea will lead to the audience looking for holes in that option and end up refusing to choose, which is called the single option aversion in psychology. The salad won't taste good, the child will say, and even if the salad or any other option you're providing is obviously beneficial to the audience, the convincing will most definitely fail because it's a one-way or no-way approach. Giving them the ability to choose among multiple options is a much better way because 1. The freedom of choice decreases the chance of them rejecting choice altogether, and 2. The perception that they consciously chose that option to eat the veggies will increase satisfaction of that choice, which relates to the self-perception theory. Technique number 2. Guide their choice with questions. This is also related to the self-perception theory, in which rather than by force, you can guide your audience to make the conscious choice to pick your options by asking questions. A common mistake people do when convincing others is that they simply present the end result, the ideal end result for the negotiator. From the buyer's perspective, how happy they can make you, the negotiator, does not matter, obviously, and they might even think that you have an ulterior motive that you're trying to hide. So, successful negotiators will ask the stakeholders or those closely related to the project questions about the general theme of what they're trying to negotiate or persuade. An example can be like, if you're trying to sell a new product by exemplifying its merits, start by asking your mock customers questions like, what should I do to influence my clients to buy and use this product? This is pretty obvious, but an essential and a general starting point, as you can ask them for examples about how you can make your clients use your new product. And next, based off of the answers you get, ask about how your product can solve that issue, and examine the multiple suggestions you get. These questions are really important indicators that determine the course of your idea or project, so try to ask as many questions as appropriate, and then don't forget to test those ideas as well. Of course, this is a very broad set of steps you can take to accomplish persuasion, especially towards audiences that are not on board with your idea or product right away. The reason why negotiators and persuaders often use this technique is because, according to the book, it creates an impression that the other party, the audience, is in control of their final decision, and thus the negotiators can decrease the chance of their offer being rejected. This is exactly what I've talked about when I said give the persuaded targets the option to make the final call, but you can totally lead their decisions to your favor by guiding their choice with questions. Technique 3. Highlight the gaps. This is also what I've talked about before, how because people generally try to avoid inconsistencies in their actions, you can use these psychological tendencies to your advantage. An example can be like when your team is working on this project for some time and you are certain that the team should abandon it, but they are reluctant to do so because of the prior sacrifices or investments they've already made. By the way, this phenomenon is called the sunk cost fallacy. This is certainly a dangerous strategy or habit to have, so to avoid it you can ask this question. If something out of our control happened and we lost everything, would we bother restarting? Or you can ask them about whether, from the perspective of the CEO, would you give permission to work on this? The point of these questions is to remind the team to always be conscious if they are resistant to change or abandon due to inertia, and to constantly question if their current action actually has future benefits. Highlighting the gap between their preference and reality is also very important for a successful persuasion. Now, there's always a chance you can apply this to your daily actions and ask too many questions and become reluctant to make any action. How do you fix that? Today's recommended video, The Science of Exposure, How to Scientifically Overcome Your Fear, will introduce you to a technique that can be used to overcome what you're fearful of, but also with overcoming resistance. The human psychology and also biology is constructed so that we prefer the current moment and be anxious or fearful of the unknown future because it's unknown. So how can we prepare for that unknown future we're so scared of? The answer is in the video located in my description section, so please check it out. For today's book recommendation, I'll introduce you to Influence, The Psychology of Persuasion by Robert B. Cialdini. I strongly recommend this title for real, as you can read it over and over and learn so much it feels illegal. The crux of successful selling lays in excellent understanding and communication with your customers, and there are so many techniques, approaches, and procedures the seller can use, so why not figure out what kind of techniques are actually scientifically legit and can be used by everybody, even if you're not selling anything. That's what the book is about, and honestly, I would pay multiple $1,000s to purchase the knowledge I can get from this book. If I could only keep 5 books for the rest of my life, this one would definitely be included. So yeah, please go check that out. And lastly, make sure to like, subscribe, and share the channel. It's been Life Study Library. I'll see you in another video. Lye Yosh away.